Alright, so after using the DJI Neo for a couple of months now, I can confidently say that this thing is amazing, and it definitely piqued my interest when it comes to drones. For the longest time, I've been refusing to get my hands on one, as first, they are usually quite expensive, and second, I had the impression that most drones are hard to operate and require a ton of experience. But with the DJI Neo, it took me just a few flights and I was instantly hooked. And because of this relatively inexpensive and user-friendly drone, I see a lot of people jumping in, and I honestly cannot blame them. Now, if you're still on the fence about getting the DJI Neo, let me give you 5 reasons why you should consider it and a few things that you also have to keep in mind before spending your hard-earned money. With that said, let's get into it. As always, honest disclaimer, this video is not paid, but DJI Philippines sent over the DJI Neo as well as the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro for me to experience. And for full transparency, I get to keep the DJI Neo because they noticed how happy I am with it, and maybe they figured I might get hooked into the hobby even further. And maybe it was their plan all along. But still, they won't see this video or my script prior to release, and all my thoughts here are from my honest experience. With that said, let's go ahead and start with reason number 1, which is its design, form factor, and weight. The design and form factor of the DJI Neo is definitely one of the top reasons why it is very appealing to most beginners. With a compact form factor, it's very enticing for casual users who aren't necessarily interested in carrying a bulky set of gear. You can get the standard kit, get a carrying case for it, throw it on your bag, and you're pretty much golden. In my case, my wife gifted me a nice carrying case that is compatible with the Fly More combo, so everything is secure, including the batteries and charger, the remote controller, and of course the DJI Neo itself. I'll put some links below if you're interested. Aside from that, with a weight of just around 135 grams, you don't have to worry about securing permits, license registration, and all that hassle. But of course, you still have to be aware of certain rules and regulations depending on where you're flying. Another thing worth noting is the fact that the DJI Neo has full coverage propeller guards that provide a huge amount of confidence for beginners to explore and hone their skills without the fear of easily damaging the drone or possibly hurting other people. I for sure will be more nervous to fly a DJI Mini Series drone for the first time than the DJI Neo. In fact, I have crashed the DJI Neo a couple of times the first time I tried using it, and surprisingly, it held up pretty well. It's actually more durable than it looks. It also has a very simple and functional design with intuitive built-in controls using a couple of buttons, recognizable icons, and LED indicators. I was able to try all the available automatic shooting modes on my first day of flying, but more on that later. Overall, it features a design, form factor, and weight that can easily attract beginners, and I think they've done a fantastic job with it. Now, the second reason why you have to consider the DJI Neo as your first drone is the fact that it has a very shallow learning curve. Like I said, everything is quite intuitive, partnered with the confidence-inducing design and construction, not to mention a relatively affordable entry price. Imagine a drone that you can essentially fly for the first time from your palm and get outstanding cinematic-looking footage. That is possible with the DJI Neo, thanks to its built-in automatic shooting modes. Whether you're just using the drone itself, using your mobile phone with the DJI Fly app, or with the DJI RC-N3 controller. Now, during my first day of flying, I was able to do cinematic-looking shots like droney, which essentially is a selfie-like shot moving backward and upward in a very smooth and cinematic movement. We also have circle, wherein the drone will orbit around you, providing an engaging way to introduce your environment. We also have rocket, which basically just shoots upwards in a straight manner for a different perspective. And if you're a vlogger, you can also use spotlight, which makes the drone keep you at the center while tracking you as you move around. Another way to introduce your background. Now, for a more cinematic looking shot, you can also take advantage of helix, which is a type of drone movement that focuses on the subject while it flies in a spiral pattern, providing a visually stunning effect. Lastly, we also have boomerang, wherein the drone will fly in a curved pattern and then slowly return to the starting point. All of these are of course doable via manual control, but you cannot deny the fact that having this as a beginner is definitely a game changer. Now, after trying the automatic shooting modes, it was natural that I got bored so easily that I immediately grabbed the remote and started exploring manual control. I can definitely say that the learning curve is indeed quite shallow, that after that day, I rarely use the auto modes again and just completely fly using the DJI RC-N3. Because honestly, I feel safer and more in control with the remote control than using the auto modes. Not to mention, you have more flexibility in terms of image quality because you can adjust a lot of settings, including some camera details when using the DJI RC-N3. You'll also get extra batteries and charger with the Fly More combo, so yeah, I can definitely suggest going straight to the Fly More combo as it's more worth it in the long run than the standard kit. Now, the third reason why you should consider the DJI Neo is also kinda related to the learning curve, which is ease of use. Like I said, you can just use the DJI Neo itself without any controller by taking advantage of the built-in automatic shooting modes with just a few presses of a button. Here in front, we have a button wherein you can easily switch between the 6 available automatic shooting modes and fly the DJI Neo pretty much anywhere from your palm. It cannot get easier than that. As a step up, you can also use your mobile phone, which allows you to fly the DJI Neo a little bit farther, up to 50 meters, which is arguably enough for most shooting scenarios. Personally, I would recommend using the mobile app as much as possible compared to just using the drone itself, because using the mobile app gives you a bit more security and control, especially in some cases where you need to interrupt the automatic shooting mode and prevent crashes. I for one have encountered this when I used the automatic circle mode on its farthest setting and it almost hit a tree. Luckily, I was able to stop it using the mobile app. Like I said, using the DJI RC-N3 remote controller is the best way to go. It provides you with a lot of security and control, giving you some pre-flight checklist, satellite positioning, return to home features, and a ton of settings that will help you customize your preferred flying experience. And as I pointed out earlier, you can also adjust some camera settings, including sharpness and noise reduction. Personally, I'd like to set mine to -2 sharpness as I feel like the standard look is a bit over-sharpened. All of the mentioned options are very intuitive and easy to use with a very shallow learning curve. Even with the DJI RC-N3, it took me literally the same first day to get accustomed to it and all of its settings. Now let's dive a bit deeper into those control options that I've mentioned with the fourth reason why you should consider the DJI Neo, which is its outstanding flexibility. Aside from using just the DJI Neo drone itself, using a smartphone with the DJI Fly app and the DJI RC-N3 controller, you can also use and control the DJI Neo with the newly released DJI Goggles N3 in combination with either the DJI RC Motion 3 or the FPV Remote Controller 3, which is absolutely insane for an entry-level drone. Now let's start with the smartphone controls using the DJI Fly app. In my opinion, this is more for people who like to take advantage of the automatic shooting modes in a safe and controlled manner. Here you can set the distance and height of each mode depending on your environment and your desired outcome. You also have a video example for each mode, which is really nice for beginners. This is also where you can take advantage of the custom mode wherein you can choose between helix, boomerang, and direction track. You can also change some camera settings here, including the resolution, frame rate, and encoding format. But unlike with the DJI RC-N3, you cannot change the sharpness and noise reduction settings. That's why I tend to use the controller more whenever possible. Now, compared to just using the DJI Neo drone itself, you have manual control here with the DJI Fly app using the virtual joystick, and again, you can fly up to 50 meters. You can also record here using the built-in microphone or an external microphone, and it can automatically cancel the drone noise, which is pretty cool to be honest. So even if I'm using the DJI Neo as my primary vlogging camera, you can still hear me loud and clear, right? By the way, I'm using the DJI Mic Mini for this test. And now I'm using the microphone of my iPhone 15 Pro Max. Microphone test 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Of course, the farther the drone from you, the better the audio quality will be. I'm still using the DJI Mic Mini. Now, like I said earlier, using the DJI RC-N3 will give you more safety features, especially the satellite positioning and radio frequency connectivity that will allow you to fly up to 10 kilometers. Not to mention the auto return to home features and a bunch of settings, including some safety options, camera settings that include histogram, overexposure warning, and of course, sharpness and noise reduction adjustments. Aside from that, we also have physical buttons and dials here to control things like gimbal tilt, recording, switching camera modes, a dedicated return to home button, and a switch for changing flying modes. Now, if you prefer FPV style, you can also choose the Motion Fly More combo, which includes the DJI Goggles N3 and the DJI Motion 3 controller. The DJI Goggles N3 is a budget-friendly alternative and was just released a couple of months ago, providing a good entry point into FPV flying. I gotta be honest though, I haven't spent enough time with both of them because I prefer cinematic flying than FPV. But if you're into FPV, this is a very compelling entry point. As you can tell, the amount of flexibility you have with the DJI Neo is borderline overwhelming in a positive way. I mean, for just around 18,999 Philippine pesos for the regular Fly More combo, you'll get pretty much everything you need. 3 batteries in a charger, and a highly capable remote controller. That brings us to the last reason why you should consider the DJI Neo as your entry point when it comes to drones, and that is the irresistible price of just around 10,799 Philippine pesos for the standard kit. I mean, at this point, I think DJI's intention and goal for the DJI Neo is just to entice those people, including myself, who really don't have any interest in drones. For someone who is honestly afraid of even flying one due to the fear of wasting money, I got so easily hooked on this that I felt like I actually wanted one in the first place. Everything has been laid out to us at such an affordable price with tons of flexibility. Really, if a friend asks you to try this, just say no, because you might end up getting one. With that said, I still highly recommend going straight to the Fly More combo package, as it's really worth it in the long run. Now, of course, nothing is perfect, giving the seemingly irresistible cute little drone. So here are a few things you need to consider before getting one. First is the image quality, because to be honest with you, this is the first thing that I noticed when I was watching some of the early review videos of this drone before I even got my own. The first thing that I thought was that the image quality looked like it was shot using a smartphone camera from a few years back. It's too contrasty and over-sharpened, even at 4K resolution. But as soon as I learned that you can reduce the sharpness in the settings, I got a little bit of hope. Still, we can't deny the fact that it has a lot of room for improvement when it comes to image quality. But again, you have to consider the price. And hopefully this department will get better in the next version. Second is basic physics. Since the DJI Neo is quite lightweight and small, it struggles significantly at high altitudes with strong winds, compromising both stability and battery consumption. But I gotta tell you, I'm still impressed by how tough this tiny drone is. Third is battery life. As per specifications, it can last up to 18 minutes, but in reality, I'm only getting around 12 to 15 minutes, which to be fair is still enough to capture a good amount of footage. More often than not though, it's shorter than that because I always make it a point to start bringing the drone back at around 40% just to be safe. And lastly, this one can be a pro or con depending on how you look at it. And that is its built-in 22GB of internal storage without any option for a microSD card. To be honest, that is more than enough before you even exhaust all 3 batteries, but after that, you'll have to transfer all the footage. The fact that it has internal storage saves us a few bucks and the anxiety of forgetting a microSD card. However, it still could have been better if it had a microSD card slot. And there you have it guys, hopefully this will help you make an informed decision should you consider getting the DJI Neo. And the fact that you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you're at least interested. Anyways, thank you for watching. Huge thanks to DJI Philippines for sending this in and for allowing me to give my honest thoughts about the DJI Neo. I'll put some links below if you make up your mind. By the way, I also have the DJI Flip here, which just arrived in the studio today, so make sure to subscribe if you're interested for the review. Again, thank you for watching and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.